Hey TCMS, this is Mrs. Martin here with your intro to Unit 4. Now before we get into the material for Unit 4, today's video is actually going to cover how you are going to be signing up for our virtual stock exchange through MarketWatch.com. Okay, so we're going to start with that, just getting you guys all signed in and learning a little bit about how to use the software. And then the second half of this video is going to cover another program called Wolfram Alpha, where we will be able to do a little bit of research. Now, it's not the only place you can do some research, but it's a great resource that I learned about recently that I think will help you make some good financial decisions as you work in MarketWatch. Okay, so today again, hopefully this is going to be a short video. We're starting off with how to sign up for MarketWatch. And then the second half will be how to use Wolfram Alpha to support your decisions in our MarketWatch game. Okay, now the MarketWatch game is a virtual stock exchange. So kind of think about it like Monopoly, and we're all going to be playing together. Okay, that means period 1 and period 4, we're all in one big MarketWatch game. So we really get a lot of people playing at the same time. So let's get us signed up. I'm going to scroll down here on period 1's materials page, and period 4 you have the same thing, and right down here at the bottom you've got a link, and it might be a different date. You've got a link that says please join ASAP. Now the reason we're joining ASAP is because I want you to have as much time in this virtual stock exchange as possible. Okay, now the stock market isn't really a beginner topic for personal finance. And we'll talk more about personal finance and where you can go for some more information about that later. But I really wanted to make sure you had enough time to actually see the impact of being involved with investments and stock market and stuff like that. So that's why we're starting today. And a couple of things I wanted to highlight. Now, hopefully you go ahead and read through these things, but a few things to highlight. First of all, the virtual stock exchange that we're playing is going to run until June 5th. Okay, so my hope here is that you guys are going to be competitive and you're going to want to see who makes the most profit and who can make the best stock decisions. And by June 5th, we can see, you know, who's first, second, and third place. That might be kind of interesting to look at. Who made the good decisions? Who was in first place, and what stock did they invest in to actually get that much profit? So I'm hoping a lot of good discussions come out of this, and I'm hoping that even though I don't have an expert level of understanding on the stock market, I hope that the experience in this game will help you understand how the stock market works. There's nothing like experiencing it yourself, and why not experience it in this Monopoly style game of the stock exchange? Okay, so if you have questions, I might not always have the answer, but that's what the internet's for, and we'll do our best to learn as much as we can about this stock market game, okay? To continue, you're going to have $10,000 to spend in the game, okay? So with that being said, in real life, I was told a long time ago never to gamble what you can't afford to lose. And I'm going to tell you that right now as we talk about this $10,000 to spend. I don't know about you, but I know I do not have $10,000 to lose. Okay, and when I say that, when I say not to gamble what you can't afford to lose, I mean that, you know, the stock market really is a gamble. Okay, the stock market is a place that's run by humans, that's influenced by humans. You're buying, you're selling, and I've told you before, and I'll say it again, humans have to be the biggest variable ever. Okay, so them being a variable in the stock market means that you can't ever really truly predict where the stock market will go. You can look at trends, you can look at statistics, and you can make all sorts of predictions, but nobody really truly knows how the stock market will progress. Okay, with that in mind, that means whatever money you're putting into the stock market, there is no guarantee that you'll come out with a profit. Okay, so when you invest in the stock market, you don't want to invest the money that you were saving to pay for your rent or for your phone bill or for the cable bill, right? Anything that's money that you need to pay bills, you don't want to gamble that away, because if you don't have it, well, then you're in trouble. Okay, so I really battled with myself on the decision to give you guys $10,000 in the game, only because, you know, for many of us, that's not realistic. And just to make sure that you guys understand, you don't need $10,000 in order to participate in the stock market. Okay, as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, we invested $300 in the stock market. We bought a couple of shares and we're seeing where it's going. So you don't have to have a bunch of money to participate in the stock exchange, but it is important that you're only investing what you can, okay, without putting yourself in danger of not being able to pay rent or buy food or, things like that, the essentials. So now that I've finished lecturing about that, you have $10,000 to play in the game. Feel free to spend it as you like, okay? All profiles are private. So what that means is you can see all your friends' names, but you can't see what they're buying. And I did that on purpose, okay? If we see one of our classmates is on top, right, top spot, an incredible profit, I didn't want everybody just going in and seeing what they bought and then them buying it and it kind of tweaking our stock market game. Okay, so instead, I want you guys to do your research. I want you to talk to each other. I want you to ask, what did you invest in and why did you pick that? How are you making such a great profit? These kinds of conversations are a lot more helpful than you digging into somebody's portfolio. And we'll talk about portfolios later. So profiles are private. In addition to your profiles being private, our game is private. We don't want any strangers jumping into our game. So you will be prompted for a password, and the password is TCMS 2020. Okay, so as long as you've got that, you'll be good to go and sign up. Lastly, I mentioned that we're doing a big giant stock exchange with both period 1 and period 4, so you'll be seeing each other's names mixed into one game. There is a group chat, and I'll show you where it is on MarketWatch, and I hope that you'll feel free to use the group chat on MarketWatch to talk to each other and reach out to maybe friends that you don't have their cell phone numbers. You can reach out in the group chat. However, please remember it is a school activity, and I know that my wonderful, respectable TCMS students will always be appropriate in this online forum. Okay, so make careful decisions when you're buying and selling. Make sure that you're doing your research and maybe you're asking good questions to help make your decisions. If you don't understand what something means, look it up. Okay, the internet's an awesome, awesome place. You can ask me, you can ask a friend. If we're not sure, we can look together, but that's what this is about, okay? It's a learning experience. And finally, have fun, okay? Don't let this, I don't mean for this to be an added stressor. Don't let this stress you out. It's just a game. If you're not sure, buy something that things that you purchase a lot, things like Starbucks or Apple, or, invest in the things that you know are good and then gamble with some things that you're not so sure about. Okay, it's all just a game. It's all for pretend, and we're just seeing where it goes. So let's go ahead and get into how to sign up for MarketWatch. All right, so at the bottom here, we've got a link for the stock market game. So I'm going to go ahead and click there, and it's going to take me directly to Mrs. Martin's TCMS 2020 game. Notice that it's private, okay, and that's why we need the password. And we've got some information here. It's starting today. It's ending June 5th, and right now only I'm playing. So hopefully there's, well, it was created by me, but we've only got me playing, one player. Hopefully that number increases by the weekend, all right? And I'm gonna go ahead and join this game. So you'll see this, you'll see the green join game button. So you'll click there. And it's going to ask you to sign in. When you sign in, please sign in with your school email. So I'm going to come down here to the red sign in with Google button. This is like the magic button to get you signed in everywhere. Okay, anything with a partnership with Google makes it really easy because we can sign in with our school email. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my LAUSD email to sign in. And again, it's going to take me to my game. You guys don't have an invite players button because I made the game, but you will have the join game button. And when you join the game, it's going to ask you for the password. So again, TCMS 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and join the game. And it has begun for me. Okay, here's my landing page. This is where it's got my name. It tells me how much money I've got. Okay, Right now we don't have a leaderboard because we don't have enough players playing. So once we get more players in here, we'll start to see some rankings happening. Notice at the bottom here that Market Watch actually gives a lot of news about different things. Now, not only does it give news about the stock market, but it also gives news about the economy in general and about the world, especially with everything going on with the pandemic. So you can look at different things. There's some information about Bitcoin. That was a big thing for a while. We can look at that later in Wolfram Alpha. But lots of news. Okay, here's some information that they often give. They like to give lists, like here's stocks you should buy now. So you guys can definitely look at those. Okay, lots of information here that might help you make decisions that you might be interested in. It is kind of a lot of reading, but some of them are very, very interesting. So feel free to look through that. And so let's look at a few of these tabs. We've got our portfolio. Right now our portfolio is blank because I haven't bought anything. So if I scroll down here, no holdings, okay, I own nothing yet. I haven't purchased anything, but that's where those will pop up. There's rankings. You can click on rankings and see where everybody's at. Again, no game rankings because we don't have anybody in here yet, but you'll be able to see those as people log in. We can also discuss with each other. So that's where this group chat comes in. See, here's me. I messaged everyone 4 hours ago when I made the game. So feel free to comment here. Okay. Actually, this discussion tab becomes a shortcut as well. So instead of clicking the discuss tab, you could click the green link over here on the side. There's also community guidelines, frequently asked questions. Feel free to look at those. Okay. In addition, there are settings. Okay, settings for me might look a little different than settings for you because I have game settings, but these are more settings, information for yourself. Okay, so there's that. Information about the game. You can also click on some guides down here. There's some more frequently asked question. Is real money involved? Absolutely not. I can't afford to give all of you $10,000 to play the stock market game. That would be pretty awesome, actually. But that's about it for the tabs, okay, where everything's at. Again, if you missed anything, sorry I'm talking fast. I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter than usual. And I'm going to go back over here to overview. Or actually, let's go to portfolio. So here's my profile, okay, and let's start buying some stuff. We have nothing in there. We haven't purchased anything yet, so let's buy some shares, okay? And you might start asking yourself, well, where do I start? I mean, there's thousands, if not millions, of companies that I could potentially invest in. And so we can do things, you know, for example, the suggestion that was given to me when I was in high school was to invest in things that you know. So one thing that I know is that everybody likes, or not everybody, but lots of people are purchasing Apple products, okay? iPhones are pretty popular, I'd say, just a little popular. So we have to be careful here because sometimes when you type in names of certain companies, it'll show up, a bunch will show up for Apple, okay? And so you gotta really make sure that you're selecting the correct stock, the correct shares, okay? So if you're not sure, you might want to double check. For example, if I just went with Apple like this, I would be investing in Apple Hospitality. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm looking for Apple Inc. because that's what makes my iPhone. And notice that Apple Inc. shares are $300 a share. That's a pretty expensive share there. We'll compare some in a minute. But you know, I have faith in Apple products. They're always coming out with something new. I've had an iPhone for a very long time. I know Macs are the type of computer that is all over CSUN campus. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Apple because that share makes me feel confident. So when I click on that, I have some options here. I can drag this and add shares. Notice when I drag this, it fills up my portfolio allocation, which pretty much means how much of my portfolio is made up of Apple. Okay, so I could do I can put all my shares in Apple if I'm really gutsy, or maybe I just want to buy like 1 or 2. I'm going to go ahead and say 10, and I can actually click and type 10 shares, and when I click out of here, it shows me. It takes up a nice chunk of my portfolio. I'm going to scroll down here. Now I don't want a day order. That means I only get it for the day. I'm going to say good till canceled, and it's going to cost me that much money. Check out the $5, okay? When you're investing in stocks, often there's a human behind the computer helping these investments happen. Okay, and so of course they're going to charge a commission for the work they do. I'm buying 10 shares at $303.74, and they're going to charge me with the $5 commission for the game. Okay, so this is my total. I have that kind of money right now, and I'm going to go ahead and submit my order. And once I'm done submitting, I'm going to go to my portfolio. And when I go to my portfolio and I scroll down, I notice that I've got some money on hold here, and I have nothing in the portfolio. And so you might be a little bit stressed out because you don't have anything here and you just bought something, and what's happening? Is Market Watch glitching? What's going on? Well, it just so happens that the stock market has a closing time. They close at 5 o'clock. So any investments, any research that you start doing after 5, you can do them, but those won't be reflected in your portfolio until the following morning. Same goes for the weekend. Stock market is closed over the weekend. So if you're starting this game on a Friday, so if you're watching my video and it's May 8th right now, and it's 5 o'clock, after 5, you might want to spend the weekend doing a little bit of research, okay? Look at some stocks that might be helpful, that might be growing, things that you're assuming might grow more, things like Zoom, things like, I wonder if House Party has stock right now. TikTok. Okay, a lot of people are investing in things that they know people are using right now during this pandemic. So the stock market closes after 5 and it closes on the weekend. So again, if you don't see them popping up on your portfolio, it means you have to wait for a weekday morning for those things to refresh. Okay, if you're making purchases throughout the day on a weekday, then those should appear right away. But since it's now 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday, it's not going to reflect for me until the morning. Okay? And so I can go up here and I can buy another one. So just to review one more time, this time I'm going to buy some Starbucks shares. I know you guys like Starbucks. You come into my room with Starbucks all the time. So that one's a little cheaper than Apple. It's $76 per share. So I'm going to trade some of those. And since it's a little cheaper, I might go ahead and go with 20. You know, I feel like every couple of months a new Starbucks shows up around my neighborhood. So I'm going to go ahead and invest in 20 Starbucks shares because that place isn't going anywhere. I can feel confident buying in Starbucks. So again, my total, or my price per share, the number of shares, my commission, and the total it's going to cost me. Okay, and again, tomorrow morning, those will pop up, and then I'll see how they're growing. And that's about it that I have to share for you about the TCMS stock market game. Okay, as far as the interface itself, feel free to click around, figure things out, look stuff up, read some articles, have a discussion, okay, a nice, friendly, school-appropriate discussion, and have fun with this, okay? Try to find, sometimes it's helpful to go online and see lists of shares that would be profitable for you, but I think sometimes it's more fun to invest in things you know, because then you can see how they're growing. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to the Wolfram Alpha software that's going to maybe help us make some good decisions on Market Watch. So if you'd like to pause the video here so that you can go and sign up for Market Watch if you haven't already, go ahead and do that. Again, remember you're signing in with your school email through the sign in with Google red button, okay, that red sign in with Google button. And you can sign up for our game, Mrs. Martin's TCMS 2020, with the password being TCMS 2020 without spaces. All right, and so now I'm gonna go ahead and jump into Wolfram Alpha so you can see how that works. So no need to sign in for this one. Wolfram Alpha is really just a search engine, okay? And notice that there's all sorts of things it can help you do. And I guess a gift to you as you leave high school and go into college, it is very helpful with making computations, okay? Stats, geometry, derivatives for those of you who jump into calculus, okay? Lots and lots of help and support. It's a great resource. And for us, we're going to use it to help us with our stock market. Okay, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to type in perhaps a stock that I'm interested in. So notice I bought some shares of Apple. So I'm going to go ahead and put Apple stock. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. And when I do that, it gives me a bunch of information about Apple stock. Okay, so the latest trade being today, it closed, there it is, at $303.74. Okay, so that's showing us that that stock market game, yeah, it's a game, and yeah, the money we're using is fake, but the trends are real. And right now, Apple shares are $300 a share. Okay, and it gives us some more information about Apple and a whole lot of vocabulary that we may or may not know, like PE ratio, annual dividends, right? Like, so some of those things may be a little foreign to us. But when I scroll down some more, this is the kind of stuff we like, okay? This right here, the last year of Apple stock. So check out what happened to Apple stock since last July. Okay, since last July, it has had a nice steady increase, okay? And what that means is if I had purchased stock in July, I bought them for $200 a share. So if I bought one share of Apple for 200 bucks, today I could have sold it for $303. Okay, $303 from the 200 I invested, it means I made 100 bucks, okay, $100 profit. You guys have talked about profit before, I'm sure, in econ. All right, so that's how the stocks work. You buy them at a certain price, and it's kind of like those of you who are involved with like reselling on eBay or OfferUp, right? You buy something at one price and you try to resell it at a profit. Okay, but notice some scary things happened here, right? And when was this? This was coronavirus introduction, right? That's when it first started to hit and everyone got really nervous and people probably stopped spending money on Apple products because they were really focused on spending money on necessities, things from the market, not sure if they're going to be stuck in quarantine inside for an extended amount of time, if they'd be allowed to shop. So this was a scary time and the stocks started dropping, okay? But it didn't drop very low. I mean, it's a significant drop, but in the grand scheme of things, Apple was still over 200 bucks a share. Okay, so they're still making their money. And then as you can see, well, now that everybody's home and everything's kind of settled down, people started buying again. Okay, Apple came back from that without much problem. And so, you know, this is where we start to ask ourselves, well, now, you know, today's May 7th, what's going to happen June 5th? Is this line going to continue to go up? Might something happen and it start going down? Lots of questions we could ask ourselves. Okay, but here it is, the stock market price history. Okay, let's look at another stock that might be interesting to us. One that I think many people should be interested is United Airlines. Okay, those are the airplanes that take us to and from wherever we'd like to go. Okay, and the reason why I'm bringing this one up is because even before we went on quarantine, flights got canceled, things slowed down, people were not allowed in or out because you know, we were afraid of this continued spread of a very deadly virus, a very scary, unknown virus, mutated virus. So here we have United Airlines stock, and check how much they are per share. $22. I can afford $22 a share. So United Airlines Holding, $22 a share right now. Let's see what that looks like over the course of the year for United Airlines. Okay, I'm gonna let this sink in for you for a second. Okay, think about what United Airlines provides. You know, it's a travel industry, and so people travel. They have to travel. You know, there's not really a decline in people traveling on in a normal time frame. So as you can see, United Airlines never went over $100 in the past year, but it did kind of stay pretty steady, a little up and down happening here. But then again, February, right around when the pandemic really started to scare everyone and everyone started staying home from work and schools started closing and, you know, really wild things started happening, this stock just dropped significantly. And here's really a big problem with this, and a lot of people have asked me in the past, is this what happened with the Great Depression? And the answer is yes. Things start to drop, and humans, and it's in their nature, humans get scared, and so they start selling. And when they start selling, the price of those shares start to drop because nobody's buying it anymore. It's not in demand because nobody's traveling. Okay, and so it looks like it's kind of plateaued again around 22 bucks. And now again, here we are, May 7th. What's going to happen now? Will it stay flat because people are going to have to continue participating in this quarantine? Or is it going to start going up because they'll start opening things up, opening up airports, allowing people to travel? When is that going to happen? Is it going to happen within the time frame of our game? And honestly, who knows, right? Who really knows what's going to happen there? But again, something to think about. Will we still have trends? Will it go up? Things to ask ourselves, and then decisions to be made. Okay? So you can play around with this a little bit. You can look over the last 10 years what happened with the United Airlines. Notice that when it started 10 years ago, oh gosh, you guys were really small then. 10 years ago it was at $20. It grew significantly, and then this drop looks even scarier on the 10-year line. It drops almost to what it was 10 years ago, which is pretty insane if you think about it. So Wolfram Alpha, guys, it offers a lot of information about things that are happening. Here they've done projections, okay? Experts who have looked at statistics and said, if things continue the way they are, this is what's going to happen to the United Airlines stock. Here's 2021. Okay, so just some things for you to look at. I mean, there's all sorts of information. I know it's a lot of decision making to happen on your part, and maybe you're interested and maybe you're not. That's okay too. Not everybody's super interested in finance, or else we all have finance degrees. But you know, take some time to learn about our economy, learn about some options and some decisions that you could be making, and maybe some ways to possibly invest your money. We'll talk about other investments in Unit 4. We're going to talk about savings accounts, and we'll talk about bonds, different types of savings investments. We won't talk too much about real estate because, again, that's another big one, but this is how we're starting because we want to see some time in this game and give some time to this activity so we can really see the impact of how the stock market works. So I'm gonna leave off with that. I hope this information was helpful to you. I hope that you liked it, and I hope that it's hopefully striking some interest. Buy stuff that you like, okay? Try not to buy stock that you have no idea what it is. I think it's more fun to see how things you like grow. For example, I might look into Nintendo stock, right? With all the Animal Crossing I've been playing, I'd totally look into Nintendo stock for that. So until next time, guys, please sign up for this as soon as possible so you can get some time in the stock market, make those trades, take your time, make some decisions, research some stuff, and we'll see who comes out on top, okay? Who can make the biggest profit in the course of a month. So I hope that you guys are continuing to stay safe. I know times are tough. Know that I still miss you. I still think about you all the time. And send me a message. Say hello. And I'll talk to you all soon. Okay? Take care. Bye.